Previously on Satoshi'S Corner, we explored the depth of the Bitcoin global network and its superpower, the Supermax network effect that has now led Bitcoin to become the 14th currency in the known universe, just ahead of the Thailand baht and the Russian ruble.
My name is Hermann Djoumessi, social media, blockchain, and big data consultant. This podcast is a bite-sized summary of a potential conversation with Satoshi Nakamoto's seminal white paper, Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. The goal of this podcast is to establish the many sources and resources necessary to create, deploy, and optimize blockchain technology ecosystem in order to establish a Bitcoin or blockchain standard for businesses and organizations in the 21st century.
Satoshi'S Corner Season 1, Episode 7. Whether there is a great reset or not in the coming months or years is a moot point. The decentralized network has shown its resilience since the bursting of the ICO bubble of 2017, or should we call it the .io bubble of 2017, reaching at the time $20,000 and falling back to $8,000 and change a few months later. The reason we often refer to Bitcoin value, it is because the Bitcoin price influences the overall crypto ecosystem, also known as the space. The price does influence innovation, it does influence investment, and confer to the network an ethical approach to cybersecurity, which rewards with financial incentive its gatekeepers and stakeholders. The miners. Incentive. By convention, the first transaction in a block is a special transaction that starts a new coin owned by the creator of the block. This adds in incentives for nodes to support the network and provides a way to initially distribute coin into circulation, since there is no central authority to issue them. The steady addition of a constant amount of new coin is analogous to gold miner expanding resources to add gold to circulation. You can see the correlation between gold and Bitcoin here. That's very interesting. In our case, it is CPU time and electricity that is expended. So the Bitcoin global network is an energy network, first and foremost. The incentive can also be funded with transaction fees. If the output value of a transaction is less than its input value, output value of a transaction is less than its input value, the difference is a transaction fee that is added to the incentive value of the block containing the transaction. Once a predetermined number of coins have entered circulation, the incentive can transition entirely to transaction fees and be completely inflation free. This is key to understand the elegance of the protocol. It rewards ethical behavior and it is hard coded. The incentive may help encourage nodes to stay honest. If a greedy attacker is able to assemble more CPU power than all the honest nodes, he would have to choose between using it to defraud people by stealing back his payments, or using it to generate new coins. He, the attacker, he or she, ought to find it more profitable to play by the rules. Such rules that favor him with more new coins than everyone else combined, than to undermine the system and the validity of his own wealth. So the reward system not only rewards you for mining, but also rewards ethical behavior towards the network. And that's something I've always said in cybersecurity. The first line of defense in cybersecurity is your staff. So if your staff is well paid and well trained, you already have created, if you want, that supermax network effect. Alright, we'll stop there for today. And now we will go to the internet to see what we can get from there. So the first article is on medium.com, and it's We Power by Lucas K, and it was written on January the 19th, 2018. Medium.com, We Power, Lucas K. And this is what he has to say. Bitcoin as a decentralized value exchange mechanism has captured our imagination and interest in what crypto economies can bring. At the same time, it has raised a number of concerns, especially around the staggering amount of resources that is needed to run this system. Actually, by some estimates, Bitcoin is using as much energy resources as the whole country of Denmark, which is one of the most developed countries in the world. And at some point, they used to call it one Denmark, right, as a unit of measure. Interestingly, Denmark is also one of the most advanced countries when it comes to renewable adoption. Renewable accounts for about 60% of its total power supply. So, what if Bitcoin was then power like Denmark? If we look at the mining process itself, right, cryptocurrency mining, such as Bitcoin or even Ethereum, is the process by which transactions are verified and added to the public ledger by solving mathematical, computationally difficult puzzle. Anyone with access to the internet and suitable hardware can participate in the mining process. Whoever first solves the puzzle gets to form and write the next block on the blockchain and to claim the rewards, transaction fee, and newly released cryptocurrency, for instance, Bitcoin. So that's exactly what we saw as per the Satoshi protocol that we read a few minutes ago. As mining difficulty and transaction count increases, new mining facilities are established and more power is consumed. As a consequence, the network expands, the power supply has to expand. Therefore, with the increasing adoption of the currency, the electricity consumption needed to mine cryptocurrency and maintain the ledger has to grow. This creates a conflicting situation where, on one hand, the adoption of the technology shows how impactful and promising it is, while, on the other hand, its scaling has a strong negative impact on our environment, allegedly. Another article here by Forbes, the famous business website, and it's written by Billy Bambrov. An interesting article. It is an article, of course, about Vitalik Buterin, the founder and creator of the Ethereum global network, which is a cryptocurrency and altcoin, if you want. And this is what he has to say. One of the more underrated bull case for cryptocurrency that I have always believed is simply the fact that gold is lame. The younger generation realized that it's lame and that 9 trillion has to go somewhere. $9 trillion, of course, being the overall value or market cap of the gold assets. So he wrote that in a blog post, obviously at the tail end of 2020. And he says that Bitcoin reputation as digital gold has grown in recent months, bolstered by a flurry of big name investors that have named Bitcoin as an emerging inflation edge. If the gold bet works, the Bitcoin bet will probably work better because it's thinner, more illiquid, and has a lot more beta to it. Billionaire investor Stanley Druckenmiller, who along with fellow investors George Soros famously bet against the British pound in 1992 and made massive profits. Meanwhile, repeated surveys have found younger people are far more inclined to buy Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other cryptocurrencies than older groups. And most of those surveys are from before pandemic forced governments around the world to heap even more debt on the shoulders of the young. We are now in a world where blockchain and cryptocurrencies are well poised to play an important part, though for reasons much more complex than many people think, and having as much to do with cultural forces as anything financial. BUTERIN wrote, arguing public blockchain-based solution will just keep quietly moving forwards and gaining actual adoption. So we're going back in time with this next article, and I found it on Investopedia, and it was about the Bretton Woods Agreements of July 1944, otherwise known as the previous Great Reset, or the 20th century Great Reset, right? Let's call it that way. The Bretton Woods Agreement was negotiated in July 1944 by delegates from 44 countries at the United Nations Monetary and Financial Conference held in Bretton Woods, New Hampshire. Thus the name Bretton Woods Agreement. Under the Bretton Woods system, gold was the basis for the US dollar, and other currencies were pegged to the US dollar value. The Bretton Woods system effectively came to an end in the early 1970s when President Richard M. Nixon announced that the US will no longer exchange gold for US currency. The Bretton Woods Agreement and system explain. Approximately 730 delegates representing 44 countries met in Bretton Woods in July 1944, with the principal goal of creating an efficient foreign exchange system, preventing competitive devaluation of currencies, and promoting international economic growth. The Bretton Woods Agreement and system were central to this goal. The Bretton Woods Agreement also created two important organizations, the International Monetary Fund, or IMF, and of course the World Bank. While the Bretton Woods system was dissolved in the 1970s, both the IMF and World Bank have remained strong pillars for the exchange of international currencies. The Bretton Woods Agreements of July 1944, otherwise known as the previous Great Reset. Now this is for dinar dirham, It's a website, probably crypto adjacent, but there is a quote there about fiat currencies that is quite interesting and readable and quotable, I guess. Here is how it goes. According to a study of 775 fiat currencies by dollardays.org, there is no historical precedence for a fiat currency that has succeeded in holding its value. It just doesn't exist. All fiat currencies ultimately go back to zero at some point. What we call fiat currency are, of course, paper currency as you've known it, paper and coin currencies as you've known it in your life or in the 20th century. 20% fell through hyperinflation. 20% of those currency actually disappeared through hyperinflation. Just, macroeconomic mismanagement, should we say. 21% were destroyed by war, I guess, invasions, war. 12% were destroyed by independence. So you create a new country and then you have to, create a new currency. And 24% were monetarily reformed. So that's a reform probably started by a central bank. And 23% are still in circulation, approaching one of the other outcomes. So they're all about to fail anyway. The average life expectancy for a fiat currency is 27 years. Okay, most of you have never had a currency that was older than 27 years. Most of you human beings, that's what we're trying to say here. With the shortest lifespan being 1 month. Okay, you've had a currency that actually lasted 1 month. And founded in 1694, the British pound sterling is the oldest fiat currency in existence. At the ripe old age of 317 years, it must be considered a highly successful fiat currency by any standards. However, success is relative. The British pound was defined as 12 ounces of silver, so it's worth less than 1/200th or 0.5% of its original value. 0.5% of its original value, less than that. Okay, that's what it's worth today. In other words, the most successful, long-standing currency in existence, has lost 99.5% of its original value, and that's for the British pound. Here's another article from You Today, and it says the title is Bitcoin surpasses Thai baht and Russian ruble, becoming 14th biggest global currency. The writer is Mr. Alex Dovnia. Okay. And so what does it say? According to data provided by fiatmarketcap.com, Bitcoin is now the 14th currency in the world by outstanding value. It has now surpassed the Thailand baht and the Russian ruble. Bitcoin will need to surge 68.64% more to reach its next target, the Swiss franc. At press time, Bitcoin's market capitalization is sitting at $772 billion after the cryptocurrency touched 42,000 earlier today. So the date of this article was the 8th of January 2021, of course. Let's put it that way, Bitcoin rally has been nothing short of spectacular over the past few months, adding 289%. Bitcoin is now bigger than Facebook. When compared to publicly traded companies, Bitcoin is now bigger than Facebook, the largest social media network in the world. But Facebook is centralized. Bitcoin is decentralized. It has no limit as far as expansion is concerned. That's the whole point of a decentralized system. It could go both ways, right? It could expand or shrink. Yesterday, the flagship cryptocurrency also managed to surpass Tesla, but the stock of the leading e-car manufacturer continued to grow with unbridled strength. Bitcoin is still far smaller than Apple, the largest public company that is valued at $2.22 trillion. The cryptocurrency also represents only a fraction of gold's total 10.6 trillion market cap. A quick look at the Quartz Africa and the title. I'm just looking at the title, really there. And the title says something that is very interesting. It says Nigeria is now the number 2 Bitcoin market on this fast-growing global marketplace. Okay, what is the name of that marketplace? I was curious about that, really. And I found an article by Uwagbale Edward Ekpo. And I really do invite you to have a look at it and to read it, right? I repeat again, Uwagbale Edward Ekpo. He lives in Abuja, Nigeria, and it was written on December the 18th, 2020. Go and have a look at that article and you will see how Nigeria is actually now becoming a leading light when it comes to the buying and selling, the trading, if you want, of cryptocurrency on the global stage, not just in Africa, on the global stage. I want to give a big up to the Black Blockchain Summit 2020, 2019 and 2021, of course, the Black Blockchain Summit. That's just a big up. Another big up to an amazing entrepreneur that was featured on ADMP blog and website, of course. And that's the people at the Satoshi Center, okay, in Botswana, right? It's a center for blockchain startup, acceleration, and innovation hub called the Satoshi Center in Botswana. And of course, another big up to its CEO of the Satoshi Center in Botswana, Elekanani Itireleng, of course, the CEO extraordinaire, and ladies of the blockchain. Big up. Another event to big up, which is Blockchain Africa, that would happen on the 18th of March 2021. So, yeah, big up to that too. You can just Google it, blockchainafrica.co. So just to finish on the Vitalik BUTERIN article, as I am reading it, the price of Bitcoin is around $33,000. So it goes up and down. We will conclude by saying that all fiat money in the 20th century and all paper currency inevitably go back to a zero valuation after 27 years. Just ask every single country around the world who has had to abandon gold standards, silver standards, diamond standards, rock standards, and switch to a currency related really to the size of its economy and the trust by outside financial markets in its system to survive, really. But next week, as per the Satoshi's white paper, we will explore how to reclaim disk space on network, something that shows again a pro-environment approach to the Bitcoin network, hard coding and design in Satoshi's Corner Season 1, Episode 8.